Let's take a look at the FaceSwap and FacePush features of PirateDiffusion. I'm on the PirateDiffusion.com website. If you want to follow along, click on Features up top and scroll down to the FaceSwap Your Own Photos lesson. Click on that. So there's two features. FaceSwap is an image-to-image feature where you already have two photos. You have the target photo and the input photo, and you want to switch one face to another. So it's like truly swapping the face. And we have some easy examples here that you can follow along with. Here we started with this very low-res picture, and we upscaled it a little bit so we can see the color of her eyes, and it gives us a debug ID. This debug ID is the name of the photo, and we can also save it as a preset, and I'll show you how to do that in just a second. So here we've rendered an original photo, an AI persona, and you can face swap using the preset or the photo ID into the second photo. And you'll notice her eyes were green, her lips were different, freckles, and now it looks more like the character from the input photo. So here's another example. Now this time, instead of doing a swap, we're doing a push. A push means that we are rendering a photo that doesn't exist yet. We don't know what the end result is going to be. And you can even specify the art style. We're using the last unicorn, which is a photographic, kind of an analog photo look. And we've pushed the preset face into that situation. And here's another example. So render, face push, photo ID, Shrek's wife. And you get something silly. So of course, these are low resolution drafts. This is 512 by 512. And we have some best practices at the bottom of the page here where you can solve for issues like blurry edges. Like I said earlier, if the quality is not sharp on the input photo, you're going to get a soft, obvious face swap. And you want to have light that's similar or very clear light. And it helps when the basic shape of the face is similar to the input. Whereas with Shrek, we have just a bizarre head. You're going to get some blurring and some clipping, and it's going to be pretty obvious. Although it's still pretty good, I have to say. That's definitely definitely her face, the way that her eyebrows look and the general shape of her face. Here's some silly examples from the dev team. Girl with the pearl earring, it's a very famous painting, and that's our developer. And this is me as Elsa pointing guns at people. Will Smith as a Chungus. my man hugging a giant Chungus, whatever that means. I guess these are giant. A Chungus is like a meme rabbit on the internet. So some examples. Now let's do a real one in PirateDiffusion. So with permission from my buddy comedian John Carnage, we're going to use his face. When you send the photo to Telegram, make sure you have compression on, so it looks like a photo and not like an attachment. So I've made a control net preset. There it is. It's telling me that I can do all of these things with this photo. But what we want to do is we want to do a face push. We want to put John in a completely original situation. And I'm going to say render, face push, John Carnage, world famous wrestler, portrait, thing is surrounded by goblins and weirdos. And it helps to target a realistic base model, a full model checkpoint. So let's go with last unicorn. I'm going to give that a second to render. And notice this is handy. So when you set a preset, it will tell you the photo resolution of the image. So 500 by 500, not the highest res. So when you input a photo that's maybe, I would recommend a minimum of 768 by 768. All right. Okay, so check it out. I face pushed John Carnage into a completely original situation with my gremlins and whatnot. And there he is. And it made the gremlins also John. Incredible. So pretty good likeness. Look at John down there, and this is so awesome. Amazing. So you can invite PirateDiffusion into your group chat with friends, and you can save each other's faces and send each other face push swaps into any kind of situation is pretty great. So for making characters, if you're bored of the same faces on your favorite models and you want to change it up and you want to introduce other kinds of faces, if you want to create a character and continue to move that character from scene to scene without building lore or complicated prompting, this is a really easy, quick way to do it. And as you can see, the results can be quite photorealistic when I'm not prompting for something ridiculous. So let's do a more serious face push. Do render, face push, John Carnage. Serious portrait of a man, 007, holding a laser pistol in his hotel room, in his luxurious hotel room. I'm going to increase the size a little bit. And while that's going, I will introduce a second photo so that you can see how face swap works. So here's a photo of Will Smith. copy that, paste that into my chat here. Now, when I have two images, I have John and I have Will, I can do face swap just by replying to the image. And face swap is its own command. It doesn't need render, doesn't need anything like that. So face swap, John Carnage, as I've defined it before. And it is almost instant. It runs really, really quick. It doesn't take any time at all. And there he is, handsome. It even did the facial hair, and that's really great. In the case where someone has a full beard, it may not work as well, but light facial hair, I believe the original John, John's portrait also had a little light beard, so it translated really, really well. And here's John as a secret agent. It can even do art styles. So we'll try John as a, that's amazing. We'll try John as an anime character next. And you remember there was a big hoopla about the Lensa app and how expensive it was. You pay, I don't know what it was, and you only get a certain amount of pictures back, and it was like a black box. And if you didn't like the pictures, you have to pay again. With PirateDiffusion, you can do this all day, and it's unlimited, and you can just experiment all day long and have fun and do it with your friends. And it's just a riot. So some limitations, as you saw earlier in the wrestling example, when there's multiple faces in a photo, it'll hunt every face down and swap it out. And it may have trouble with faces that are at a slight angle, slight right angle, or if the face is not realistic enough, it will ignore it. So in the case of like the goblin on the right, maybe this is too fantasy, but the goblin on the left looked human enough, and it took it. So just something to keep in mind. This is the upscaler facelift and /anime, and you can specify size, and that will reduce the realism a bit so that you can get a more stylized photo. It smooths out the lines a little bit. You can see all of the noise is gone, and the photo looks more anime styled. So to review, face swap is its own command. You can target an image, control net preset, or the photo ID. So I would get the same. If I wanted to do this, you can copy this and do. If I said render, face push, the copy ID, you want the whole thing, and IMAX 3D movie poster. It is XL. Okay, here we go. Okay, interesting. So the Almax is the greatest comedian, and a cast of, it looks like Jesse James. Who's this other guy? Yeah, really interesting. So it does work with Stable Diffusion XL, so you can get much more convincing angles. You can clean up some of these little imperfections with in-paint, but even like the little pictures are so good. It's definitely him. All right, so that's face push and face swap. It's a lot of fun. I hope you have a lot of fun with it. Please face swap and face push responsibly. Don't go posting crazy stuff on the internet. Don't go get yourself in trouble. Know the laws in your state and your country before you get into any kind of shenanigans on social media. Think twice. Be good. And I hope you have a lot of fun with it. I have a lot of fun with it. I use it all the time. And that's my spiel. Thanks for watching.